Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. Today is Thursday, September 18th. I'm Dr. David Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined, as always, by Dr. Christopher Sent, our provost. We're now in the fourth week of the semester. It's hard to believe, a quarter of the way through. Weather's beautiful. There is a ton going on campus. It's great to see everybody out in the area, especially. It's been warm, but at night I see more and more people enjoying the fire pits and the chairs, etc. Yesterday we had extended community hour featuring our Mass of the Holy Spirit. I'd like to thank everyone who made the event special, especially our special guest for the Mass, Dr. C. Vanessa White, who was our guest homilist, who came in from the Chicago School of Theology. The Mass of the Holy Spirit signifies the beginning of the academic year and embodies a spirit of welcoming, inclusion, and belonging for all members of the campus. This afternoon, we'll be attending, Chris and I will be going to the dedication to the Mary and Brian Durkin Trading and Finance Lab at St. Charles Borromeo Hall. The Durkin Trading Lab is a state-of-the-art facility that provides students in the College of Business with hands-on, immersive experiences in financial markets and trading through simulations and other career-focused learning opportunities. Supported by the generous donation of the Durkin family, the lab serves as a key resource for students to gain practical, real-world financial skills and gain a competitive edge in the job market. I'm really looking forward because I know that not only will Brian and Mary be there tonight, but also many members of their family, and it's kind of a family gift, so I'm really excited to see them tonight. Lewis is also hosting this weekend our Campus Visit Day, the first one of the fall season. We do them in the fall and the spring, big events. So it'll be Saturday. Students and families will have the opportunity to learn more about the admissions process, ways to get involved on campus. They'll be able to meet professors in their academic major and learn about financial aid and scholarship opportunities, as well as to get a tour of campus. It's a great opportunity. Again, you may not want to sign up, but if anybody watching, if you have a niece or a nephew, a brother, sister, anybody who might be interested in joining Lewis next fall or in a couple years, they might be sophomores. Usually it's sophomores, juniors, current seniors, and students that are at one of the area community colleges. It's a mix of people, and we're really looking forward to having them on campus this weekend. It should be a gorgeous day. So. We have always updates from campus, the campus community, and what's going on campus that Chris shares with us. So Chris, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Hello, everyone. First of all, Mass of the Holy Spirit was really beautiful. The music was incredible yesterday. Had such a good time there. I'm really looking forward to going to the Durkin Trading Lab event this afternoon. I just remembered there were a couple things we didn't get a chance to go to, either of us yesterday. One is that we started the, I think it's called Black Resistance film series, happened yesterday. The first one was Refusing the Silence, I believe it was called. That was yesterday afternoon. I just heard it was really powerful film, shown in our movie theater here yesterday afternoon. And then there was also a Hispanic Heritage Month event at the St. Augustine, or at the Uptown campus, yesterday afternoon, featuring several distinguished members of our Lewis staff and leadership. And I heard it was really well attended, and both in person and on Zoom. So much going on, but yeah. I just remember those two things as you were talking. Looking ahead a little bit in the calendar, the Philip Lynch Theater will feature Alice Childress's Trouble in Mind, which follows a talented actress who lands a leading role in a play called Chaos in Belleville, an anti-lynching play heading to Broadway. A cast of multi-generational Black actors rehearse under the purview of a white director and stage manager, and as the rehearsal process unfolds, theater conventions and racial politics collide, resulting in a surprisingly funny yet deeply piercing look at the entertainment industry. So that show starts on October 3rd, runs October 3rd through 5th, and 9th through 12th. We always look forward to Lewis University's annual Peace Teach-In, which will be October 13th through 15th on the Romeoville campus. This year, over the course of 3 days, 14 sessions, we'll analyze the intricacies and challenges of the doctrine of discovery, the experience of indigenous peoples, and who is considered truly American in the United States. The Grove Memorial event which is part of the Peace Teach-In, will feature Sarah Augustine, former director of the Community Peace Center of Central Washington, and the author of a book called The Land Is Not Empty. So really looking forward to those events. I know you can locate the full schedule for the Peace Teach-In by Googling it or going to the Peace and Justice Studies a part of the website. And I always forget to do this, so I'm advising everyone to please mark your calendar. Look at the time of the day of these many educational events and mark your calendars and make arrangements now so that you can be free to really benefit from that incredible series. So you're going to talk a little bit about some
other events,
short-term events.
And I think it's a great advice. On the show, we're always talking about what events are going on campus. But I would say especially for new students that are just starting the college experience, trying to get some things that you really want to attend, like if you look over a month or something, so that you can get them on your calendar right now, because other things will pop up, study issues will pop up, et cetera. And sometimes it's great to make friends at things that you care about, because other people that also care about will be there, and you can find those kind of groups that really fit. For our new and transfer students, I think it's a great opportunity. So a few things that are on the agenda coming up. So in terms of stuff that's going on today, we have a spades workshop that's going on over in AS 157A, sponsored by the Black Student Union. We have bingo going on in the Student Center, and we already mentioned the Durkin Trading Lab. There's going to be a fall bonfire in the backyard tonight, starting at 6:30. Gorgeous weather to have that. Actually a little hot for a bonfire compared to what I'm sure we thought about would happening in mid-September at this time. Tomorrow, Habitat for Humanity is having probably one of their first meetings of the year to try to get organized around their work that they'll be doing this year. And at the Welcome Center, the Master of Science in Speech Language Pathology is having their open house to kind of explain to people what's going on there. This weekend, Saturday, we're going to have physics teachers. So this Greater Chicagoland pickup workshop that's on there, that's for teachers that teach physics, and it's a kind of allowing them to understand more and get some new ideas on how to teach physics in new and exciting ways. As we already mentioned, the Campus Visit Day. And then the Walk to End Alzheimer's in Joliet will happen at the Time Plaza at 9:30. Sunday, of course, Mass. And then next week, we have some events coming up. The Cyber Defense Club, they've been so successful over the last couple years, Chris. I know we both watched them with, I've been so impressed. But if you think both learning about hacking and how to defend against hacking is interesting to you, it's a great club, and they do national competitions and really are incredibly successful in those. The College of Business having their organizational fair linguistic justice series is something on, language is so powerful, and I think we all realize that, but this is a series that really is talking about how language fits into issues of justice. Again, if you're interested in the Peace Teach-In and other things, that might be something that you want to attend if you're a new student on campus. Tuesday next week, career tools for international students. The chess club is meeting, as you see on here. We're having candle making, line dancing, and then Alpha Phi Omega, which is one of our sororities on campus, is having s'mores at the Fire Pit number 4 at 5 o'clock next Tuesday. Wednesday, of course, there's a bake sale going on at Charlie's Place, but we also have an open painting with Tracy over in the Flyers Den. And then Community Hour has this list of events that you can see on there, from fitness classes to leadership workshops and the Data Science Club, so photo clubs. So there's a lot of opportunities for people next week during Community Hour. Upcoming events next Wednesday also include the Exploring Rome seminar, which is again a continuation. Dennis Kremen is doing a 3-part series on that. Student Senate will be meeting. Women in Business, they're back together bash. So again, a good time for people who want to re-engage with the Women in Business Club, but also for new people. They're going to have that at 5 o'clock next Wednesday night. And then Russ Bartlett He was a Navy fighter pilot and a Blue Angel, and he'll be talking about his life in AS 158 next Wednesday night. We have some travel coming up in terms of athletics. So cross country will be in South Bend. Women's volleyball is going down to Embry-Riddle. When I saw that on the list, I thought, two great volleyball teams and two great aviation schools. I don't know if they will play Embry-Riddle. A lot of those they're round robin tournaments, but it's being hosted by Embry-Riddle down in Florida. Sunday, men's and women's soccer will be at Upper Iowa. And then the golf team has two different tournaments, one at UIndy and one at the Warrior Invitational in Detroit. Just so much going on in terms of what's happening on campus. It's really, it's an incredible amount of stuff that's going on. So I guess I hope, again, that the rest of our students that aren't necessarily involved in the running of these clubs and organizations or involved on the athletic teams will take a little time away from their studying and their social life and go and see some of these events, because I know we can get, it's easy for all of us to get caught up in, talking to people, being online with people. There's a lot of ways to socialize that way, but the in-person socialization and getting to know people on campus, it's one of the reasons we share all these events, because there's just so much going on. Yeah,
so much to do and so much to learn. I want to maybe emphasize this Russ Bartlett. I can't believe it's going to happen before we're back here together again. There are actually many things going on during his visit. He's going to be on campus for a couple days, so I encourage you to look for announcements about that. He has an afternoon session as well. We just left off the calendar for space. He is not only an aviation, legend, but also he speaks about leadership and business and nonprofit management and things like that. So he's doing several different things on different topics while he's on campus. A really important kind of special visitor we have this semester. So I'm really excited to bring on our next guest. Before we do it, I just want to say a few words about our Lewis's relationship with Christian Brothers University. As part of our overall strategic planning, we believe that partnership and collaboration among and between colleges and universities is really important, central to meeting the future needs of students at our university and at others. With Christian Brothers University, we've formed a partnership through a letter of intent that we signed in May to work more closely together and to achieve higher levels of effectiveness and efficiency in operations, while also exploring academic program integrations that could leverage our unique academic programs, accreditations, and strengths. This could lead to broader and greatly enhanced opportunities for students in Memphis, where Christian Brothers is located, and here in Romeoville. So we're really excited to be joined virtually this week with Brother Chris Englert. He is the interim president of Christian Brothers University. He took his first vows in 1974, has a bachelor's degree in humanities, a master's degree in religious studies, and another master's degree in educational administration. From 1989 to 2019, that's a really long time.
Oh my gosh.
We got to double check this with him. He served as the principal and CEO of Christian Brothers High School, very distinguished high school in Memphis. We're really excited to talk more with Brother Chris, so please welcome Brother Chris Englert.
So glad to have you, Brother Chris. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Glad to do it. So just as a clarification, I would have overstayed my welcome at Christian Brothers High School, but we went to the president and principal model about halfway through, and I became the president. But after that, I served 4 years up in Chicago in Burr Ridge as the auxiliary provincial. Very familiar with Lewis University. I've been to many meetings there and been on the campus a number of times and visiting the brothers and a number of funerals too. So it's exciting. It's just familiar territory, which makes the things very easy.
Yeah. And just a reminder for everybody, you can see on the screen right now that you can send questions in to ask us at lewisu.edu. So if you have a question for Brother Chris, or about CBU. We're going to be talking a lot about this, but please feel free to send in any questions that you have.
Yeah, so it's great to be with you, Brother Chris. We have heard you talk a little bit over these last 6 months as we've been bringing the two institutions together, a little bit about how Christian Brothers University began, its connection to Chicago, and really, just the kind of legacy or the traditions that are embedded there. So if that's sort of the first thing we want to talk about, is if you could share a little bit about that history.
Yeah, I'd be glad to. Learned quite a bit about it over the years, and every year I learned a little bit more. But uh, they had tried to get the brothers here in the 1860s, 2 years after the end of the Civil War, which I think was 1865. They had actually bought some property, and the brothers were looking at coming here. But then 11 brothers died from the yellow fever epidemic in 1867 down in New Orleans and in Galveston. And so they had no brothers that were available. So they sold that piece of property, and a few years later, they bought another one, hoping that the brothers were going to come. And in 1871, they had no brothers available. And so in October, I have the dates, October 8th through 10th, the Chicago fire burned down Christian Brothers Academy, which was on Van Buren, not too far from Clark. And the school was only 3 years old. I've seen pictures of it, sketches of it. And it's a beautiful building. But it burned down the school. It freed up some of the brothers. And so they sent 2 brothers down on the train from Chicago, stopped in St. Louis, picked up another brother, and came to Memphis. And Brother Marillion, who was down in Pass Christian, Mississippi, he moved up to Memphis, and they started Christian Brothers College 6 weeks after the Chicago fire. But we would not be, well, we might be, but that is certainly our origins, and fortunately there was a building all ready to go. So it's a long storied history here in Memphis. You still remember, you still had the end of the Civil War, and there was some major problems with that. A lot of religious separation. You had German and Italian immigrants that you can trace, which were really the Catholic population back then. But we were down on Adams Street. It took a few years, but you had a grade school division, a high school division, and a college division. And then in the 1920s, they closed the grade school, and the college had to close for World War I and World War II, but the high school has always stayed open. But in 1965, or excuse me, in 1940, they moved to this campus. Christian Brothers College moved to this campus, which is now, it was the city limits back then. Now it's Midtown Memphis, beautiful area. And we have about 90 acres here. And in 1965, the high school split off and went 7 miles down the road in Walnut Grove Road. But the college has been here since 1940.
So
It went co-ed, I think, in 1970 or 71, something like that.
So, Brother Chris, could you talk a little bit about during that development then, as you said, so it went co-ed in the 70s, but could you talk a little bit about kind of the development of the college and what it's been kind of known for? What are some of the key academic programs? What's its reputation in terms of who it serves? So maybe just a little bit about more of the maybe academic and co-curricular development of the school.
Yeah, obviously it took, after the baby boom is really what got the college started on a much more modern path. But I admire the brothers who were the ones that really started the engineering school, the business school. It was the brothers really that built these, and some of them went back to school so that they could teach engineering or teach business. And over the years, it's really become known as an engineering school, a business school, basically a STEM school. We also have a strong nursing program, and we have the liberal arts as well. But I think engineering, people think we're mostly engineering, which isn't it. It's mostly business at this point. But the engineering department is still very strong.
Yeah, that's great.
So, Brother Chris, can you talk a little bit about, from your perspective and the conversations that you're having there, what some of the opportunities you see for Christian Brothers, and we can maybe all talk about how we see it as well, that might come out of a partnership with Lewis, or already is coming out of a partnership?
I reminded our staff, is that, we're both on I-55, a little over 500 miles apart. Uh, I mean, there's challenge, but it's been a very easy working relationship because of being Catholic and Lasallian. So, right off the bat, it's not a competition, but what we have, we're not real strong on the online programs. I think that's what Lewis has, a lot to offer us. We have a very strong engineering program. Memphis also has a lot of connections. We use the term CBU is a small fish or big fish in a small pond. So when we burp, it's on the news. But we have these strong connections like with FedEx, which could very much benefit the aeronautical school up in Chicago, up at Lewis. We also have a relationship with Wilson Air, Bob Wilson, who's the son of Kemmons Wilson, who was the founder of Holiday Inn. Bob has been on the board, but he has Wilson Air, which is the private sector connected to the Memphis airport. So when Elon Musk sneaks into town, he goes to Wilson Air, and like when the University of Memphis basketball team has their plane, it leaves from Wilson Air. So we think that would be another very strong possibility partnership with the aeronautical school. And then also we have International Papers headquartered here. They've had cutbacks, but as you know, there's no shortage of using paper. So I think hopefully we have some connection there that would be helpful. The other one is the medical community here. Of course, St. Jude's. One group is it's the West Cancer Clinic, which is the premier treatment for cancer in Memphis. And it's Mitch Graves is the head of it. He's a former board chair, he's a CBU grad, and is really interested in a much closer connection with our nursing program. That we would be training. There are certain areas that they really need nurses over at the West Cancer Clinic. So that's a strong opportunity too for both schools to have a partnership with a local group.
Yeah, you've mentioned a lot of this, Brother Chris, but maybe, if there's anything else you want to add, just to, like, if you can imagine that there's many people watching this, many people at Lewis who have never been to Memphis. So maybe just a little bit about, because you've mentioned some of the key, I guess what I'd say, corporate entities. But like you even mentioned, well, when Elon Musk sneaks into town, I think for some people it'd be like, well, why would Elon Musk sneak into town? Like they don't even know what is that about, and maybe just a little bit about, because when I've been down there, and I've been down there now, a number of times, I'm taken with the kind of growth of the Mid-South and where Memphis kind of fits into that. Obviously, for maybe many people in our community, they would know Memphis around, music and maybe even, a little bit around Elvis. But Memphis is a lot more than that. And you've talked about some of that, but maybe you want to add anything to that about the Memphis community.
Well, yeah, Elon is building the world's largest supercomputer down by the river, and it's basically because of our water supply. We have an underground aquifer, which has pretty much unlimited water. And so the availability of water, and then, the problem is getting him enough electricity. So he's in and out, but it's also brought in other corporations that are going to be building, developing microchips. I think it was Dell they're going to open up a business down here. Ford out east is opening up, it's about maybe 30 miles from here, a huge plant for electric vehicles. It's been delayed a little bit, trying to figure out how that path's going to go. But, it's interesting as compared to Chicago. Memphis is only about 6% Catholic. But the brothers, we're really the only religious order here. There are some SVD, priests that have a community here, and the Dominicans, the priests, are down at St. Peter's. They were instrumental in getting the brothers to Memphis. But we don't compete with the Jesuits. We don't compete with the Franciscans. So it's it's an honorable position to be in, and it really has helped us make a lot of connections in the local community. Many graduates from the university and from the high school, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, politicians. So it's really an advantage for us to be in this, and we do not take for granted, these people that have been so good to both schools.
A little bit to this about, you've been working hard with whole groups of people down in Memphis at Christian Brothers University, and maybe both you and Brother Chris can comment on, but maybe start with you. Like, where are the opportunities that you see? What excites you about this relationship? Where do you see this potentially going? So just,
Right.
that kind of like, mostly for me, what excites you about the possibilities?
I would say a few things. First of all, I agree with Brother Chris at being Catholic and Lasallian institutions that have so much in common, and that we already know each other well through various Lasallian meetings and get-togethers over the years. It really helps make this type of work easier. But just listening to Brother Chris, I think maybe I would put it into a couple buckets. One is the programs that Christian Brothers University has, especially in engineering, are attractive to Lewis. The idea of the type of collaboration where a Christian Brothers program in engineering might be located on our campus here or something like that, where we can more quickly than we could do by ourselves start up a program based on their portfolio of programs. And that's one set of opportunities, and I know the reverse is also true for starting up things down there that Lewis does. The other area is the way Brother Chris just described Memphis, and the state of Tennessee is just a really thriving economic area that has a lot of population growth now and projected into the future. So the ability to be a part of that growth, both in terms of the examples Brother Chris gave around business development going on in the kind of greater Memphis area, but also more families going out and leaving high school and so on, and being able to access college, I think is exciting, coming from Illinois, where we are confronted with demographic realities around high school graduates and declining over the next decade. It doesn't look like that in Tennessee. So that's also really exciting really for CBU to be excited about what's potentially out there, especially with our kind of combined work to build up some of the programs there.
Yeah. Is there anything else that kind of you're excited about, Brother Chris, or you hear from your faculty or staff that they're like, oh, this could be an opportunity or that could be an opportunity?
Well, I know they're already working together. I know Dr. Andrew Asadolahi, the dean of our engineering, has been meeting, or Zooming with people from up at Lewis on a regular basis. Ashley Skidmore comes down once a month and has been a tremendous help for us insofar as focusing our admissions program, which really needed some help. So, I've got a very talented staff. When they asked me to do this a couple of years ago, it was, the vice president, the CFO, the advancement person is phenomenal. I got very good vice presidents, and they just work so hard for this institution. We've also been blessed with donors, with some very, very large gifts. They want to see CBU succeed. And, in Memphis, you have 4 colleges or universities. You have the University of Memphis, which is, I guess, maybe about 20,000 students. Rhodes College, which is very much somewhat of an elite liberal arts college, but it's very picky with it. And Lemoyne Owen, which is a traditionally African American school. So CBU is unique. The 4 schools really appeal to different people and have different missions. So CBU has we're not really, in some ways we compete with Memphis a little bit, but in general, we're so unique in what we offer, especially with the class sizes, the smaller class sizes. One of the things I always tell people, De La Salle, he told the teachers not to be just conveyors of knowledge, but they have to be the guardian angels. They have to be the shepherds. They have to be the older brothers and sisters. There has to be a relationship with the teachers and the students. And I think Lasallian schools do that so well. And it really makes, I think, Lasallian schools stand out among many other, especially the public colleges.
I just want to maybe reinforce one thing Brother Chris said there, which is the collaboration that's happened between people at Christian Brothers and people at Lewis. It's, he mentioned a couple of names. Those are deans and vice presidents and other people who are going back and forth and collaborating on Zoom and figuring out some projects to do together. Some are direct, sort of working to help one institution or another do its work. Others are potential collaborations for enrollment growth and program pathways. But regardless, I think whenever my experience of this type of work, and it really applies to St. Augustine as well, is that it's always so beneficial to learn how other institutions do things and to meet incredibly great people and professionals that Brother Chris just talked about at CBU. I completely agree. There's just some incredible leadership there across many areas and departments and college and schools, and it's been great to get to know them and to learn from them in the process. But also we learn by trying new things together, how to do those new things, and I think it's just really healthy for us to continue to do this type of work.
So as a leader, let me just push you a little bit on that, Chris, and Brother Chris may want to add into this as well. So, you're a leader among provosts, among Catholic schools. Brother Chris has a lot of background in Catholic education, and especially Lasallian education. But this is, I wouldn't say it's completely new, but it's new-ish to have people not just think, I got to do my own thing. Right? Yeah. It's all about just, we're kind of us against everybody else, as opposed to us with other people that can be in partnership. So could you talk a little bit about, I don't know if you're hearing these conversations among provosts when you're at, national organizations, what you're hearing in that way. And then maybe Brother Chris, as you mentioned, you were in a leadership role for the district. And so what's the kind of collaboration mindset among Lasallian schools? So it'd be interesting because I'm not sure everybody thinks in that way that is listening to the show. Yeah,
so I guess maybe the first thing to say is that necessity is the mother of invention. I feel like there's a lot more openness to this type of collaborative work than there was 10 years ago. When we would talk about it, or just a willingness to get deeper in collaboration than we used to. I'm sure Brother Chris has an opinion about this, but my experience is that it's again, we're really emphasizing the value of the Lasallian connection because we share that identity as well as the values. Sometimes I think in Catholic higher education we make too big of a deal about the differences between orders and so on. It's almost harder to collaborate with, you mentioned Franciscans or Jesuits, than non-religious institutions because we value our differences so much. But I really see that breaking up as well. I don't know what you think, Brother Chris.
Well, first of all, being a president, I'm amazed at how many emails I get from all these different groups and articles, and higher ed has quite a few journals out there. But weekly, I get something referring to collaboration with universities and colleges. The exchange of programs or the combining of programs, and the challenge of colleges and universities is no secret. And it's and there's just so many headwinds. But I look at the history of our school, there are many, many headwinds since 1871. So, fortunately, there's always people that really want to take on those challenges. But like it's very affirming to work with other Lasallian universities. This really got started. I mean, the universities we had talked, the Lasallian universities talked about were their ways of collaborating, but it was basically back in January when Dave, you and your board chair, and I, Paul Posey from our board, we were at a meeting together of Lasallian universities and board members that the conversation got started quite
Yes.
because we lost a lot of the foreign students at the semester because of the political climate.
Right.
And so we knew we had to start, looking at some other options. And as soon as I got back here, I talked to Ron Brandon. Of course, he knew Ray Kennelly up there already because they had had other conversations about ways we could work together. But it really got the momentum going, and that we're figuring this out together. The original script is in the wastebasket, and
Right,
we
right.
For
just
sure.
we keep writing it as we go, but
Right.
we are making a lot of progress with it.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that you said, and I think, you're a student of the Lasallian history, but, I've been, with the Lasallians now, going on 10 years. Chris has been 20
25,
something,
yeah.
25. You've spent, much of your life, Brother Chris, being a part of it. I think what you mentioned at the beginning, a little while ago, is this is not the first time that a Lasallian school has been challenged by external issues and financial challenges. I know Lewis has gone through that multiple times. As you mentioned, Lewis was also one of those schools that during the Second World War, the Navy came in and functionally took over the university. But we've had, in our 90 plus year history, we've had ups and downs in terms of enrollment and finances, and CBU has faced the same over there 150 years. And so I think it's just, I like Chris's, necessity is the mother of invention. We're being creative now because we realize that going it alone is probably not the best response to the current climate. But Lasallians are not new to challenges, and they've always faced them with a sense of hope that comes out of not only our faith, but our collegiality, our association that we have with our colleagues, and our belief that we can overcome those challenges. So I don't know if that brings anything up in either of you, but that's really what I was kind of hearing from both of you.
Yeah, I look back at the history of CBU. I don't think there's ever been a comfortable time. You know? Where you're doing cartwheels, everything's going smoothly. And,
Right.
it's like I said, it's from the yellow fever, the wars, the depression, and the deaths of brothers, and it is what it is.
Well, it just shows how
People
inspiring.
keep moving on.
Yeah,
It's remarkable.
it shows how inspiring the work is that we're,
Yeah.
willing to fight through the challenges for the mission. Could you maybe, as we start to close up a little bit, maybe talk a little bit about this year, apart from Lewis at CBU? I know there's an accreditation visit, I think next week, and what's that about, and where is CBU in its journey with the accreditor?
We were put on probation for good cause because deficit spending for years. And and there were some missteps by, some people, some of my predecessors. And so they thought they'd bring in somebody who didn't know a thing about well, I do know a little bit about colleges. I've been on some boards, but I was able to make some connections with the community. I was a known entity, but so the last 2 years now we have had surplus budgets, and that's what they want to see. And so we are anticipating that we would be taken off probation by December. That's when the Southern Association meets. And so we're optimistic. Like I said, a visiting committee comes in next week just for one day. We have all the presentations ready to go, but to be able to say that we've had 2 years of surplus is what they wanted. And so that's hopefully we'll move forward. But it's also like a scarlet letter. It hurts our recruiting. Will CBU stay open? So once we get this going, if we get assuming we should be off probation, we have a whole plan to get moving right away. Our board meets 2 days after that meeting, and immediately starting some programs, new programs, some associated with Lewis, but we've not been able to start new programs at this point. So, keep us in your prayers. But like I said, donors have stepped up. They know the importance of the school, and so we've been blessed by that. And one of these major donors is anonymous.
Yeah, I've been so impressed with your donor base. I've been able to meet some of them in different times when I've been down there. So we did have a question that came in, Brother Chris, and you may or may not want to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So somebody wanted to know what you're doing after CBU. I think we mentioned you're in an interim role, and so next summer,
my line is, I'm going to be the assistant sacristan.
Yeah, what is?
I'm going to be the assistant sacristan. All right. I've been in leadership most of my life as a brother. I joined to be a teacher. I only taught 7 years, and I've been in the Brothers 52 years now. 4 of those are college years. But I kid. You guys know this. I want to be a Rob Vaselsky.
That sounds like a good job.
That's a good goal. Yeah.
Hopefully, Rob's watching.
I don't mind helping out somewhere. I really don't. I don't want to be paid. Now the brothers might not like that, but I would like to do something in a non-administrative role.
Yeah, that's great.
Makes sense.
Well, we're so grateful for your leadership. Certainly, it's been great for us, not only when you were, in the leadership role in the district, and I got to work with you in that role, but now it's been great to work with you in this role of leadership. And obviously, over those, 5 decades, you've given so much to so many students and colleagues and inspired them. So we're grateful for all of that. Any last comments, Chris or Brother Chris, because we're about to wrap up the show?
No, thank you so much, Brother Chris. It's always inspiring to be with you, and we are really enjoying our collaboration with Christian Brothers.
Well, thank you. I admire it's a lay-run organization now, these schools, and the commitment that you all show. And I know you're not all becoming independently wealthy because of it, but I do appreciate your commitment to the mission.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it's a great mission. I appreciate that. So thanks for taking time to share with us, Brother Chris. Thank you.
By the way, did that question come from a brother up there?
I don't know.
We don't know.
It just comes in.
They're anonymous.
Comes in anonymously, so it might be that. You never know. So you can kind of needle them after the show and see who sent it in. So. Anyway, so really great to be with you. Thanks so much for taking the time. And thank you all for who watched this week. We're grateful for your interest. We're excited about the year as it unfolds, and just want to say many blessings to you and all those that you love.